Hello everybody, it's Crazytoast, and today we are looking at the BDR G1B French heavy tank. I picked it up from a friend, by a suggestion from a friend who went through it, and I had picked it up before, but I got discouraged from playing it, and I'll get to those reasons in a minute. But I completed it. I don't think I've deleted yet. I don't think I've got the radio. But other than that, it's all right. History-wise, none of them ever made it even into production. Only thing I could find on them were little models, and it seemed like it was designed and put on paper in 1938, but none were ever made. So this is basically a paper tank. Quite simply, there's not enough armor, or at least it's how do I say? Okay, there's 60 millimeters of armor on the front. Now, you'll bounce a lot of shots off of this plate, or some, not many, but some. But up here, it's just you're getting smacked with them. I mean, you're literally just taking the hits. And if you try to angle this tank, your track's in the way. So you're going to be tracked a lot if you get exposed. You're going to get tracked a lot in this thing. You try to angle, you're getting tracked. And if you don't angle, you're just going to be torn apart. This thing does not have a lot of armor. The only good news about this tank is that their front and rear armor ratings are the same. So if an enemy's coming up from front or from behind you, all you have to do is just turn your turret around, and you don't really have to worry, and just kind of angle it. I've actually bounced shots better off the back because they're hitting the armor and bouncing off more than here where they're just soaking up into the track. Sure, yeah, the rear track can get hit, but it's not, if they're aiming for here, they're not going to, accidentally hit that part. They're just actually going to hit the actual hull. A couple of things I've found in this damn thing. Driver gets killed every damn match. The driver will die almost every match. Every time I get into this tank, the driver dies. Something always goes wrong, and the driver always gets smacked. So the driver gets hit. He can get hit from the front. He can get hit from the side. I think if the shot comes in about here, the driver dies. Another one is the radio man. I believe he's on this side here, like right here. I think he's right there. He dies. You take a shot a little too low here. The driver dies. The radio man dies. Every damn time I get into his tank, either the driver or the radio man or both die. I'm not joking. So armor, it's pretty weak on armor. Maneuverability, it's a little on the slow side. It's a heavy tank. It's tier 5. There's really no big thing there. It's no surprise. It's just this big, slow tank. The only other problem is, and I forgot to mention it in the armor section, is that it's tall. This thing can pull up behind a M6 corpse, or even just a tank itself, and put its turret over the back of the M6. The thing's tall, so it's really hard to hide this damn thing, but it works to your advantage sometimes. Yeah, so the maneuverability, it's not the fastest tank either. It says it can go 30, but you're only really looking at on flat terrain, maybe about 25 to 27. Unless you're going downhill, you might hit 33. So it's quicker, probably quicker than a KV tank. The KV-1 tank. Way faster than an A2 or an AT2 or an AT8. But it's still not the fastest thing. It's a heavy tank. The weapons. Now, this is one of the complaints that I had with the tank. Now, usually with stock guns, they're of course worse than their Top Gun. That's no secret. My only problem is the first two guns seem so horrible in so many different ways, it's just frustrating. The grind from using the stock 75 to the tier 5 long 75mm long 44, to grind through those two guns was hell. Halfway through the grind in the 75mm, I literally sold the tank and didn't come back to it for another 3 months. My friend said, hey man, once you get that 90, it's really good, but I just didn't want to do it. I actually just free XP'd it, the 90. And I played a few more matches with the 75, and yeah, it could penetrate and it's got a high rate of fire, but when you're fighting KV tanks, and especially when they're moving and you're trying to shoot for a flat piece of that KV, a lot of times you'll just bounce. Even with gold rounds, especially from range, the gun for some reason cannot penetrate shit. They're just horrible guns until you get to the 90. The 90 is a blessing. Yes, it might only be, 30 more millimeter or 35 more millimeters of frontal penetration that you might get. Yes, it's only about 70 something damage extra from between the 75 and the 90. But the 90 just gives you that satisfaction. For some reason, when you fire that thing off and you see 200 damage to a KV, it's wonderful. And the 75, for some reason, it wasn't doing that much, I want to say damage, but it's like, if I were to shoot an M3 Lee, it would take me, 4, 5 hits to kill it. The 90, it seems like you got more critical critical hits. I could take the 90, shoot an M3 Lee, and take out his ammo, and he'd just explode. The 75, not so much. I might get a gunner or something. But the 90, it's the perfect weapon that this tank needed. If this thing did not have the 90, and say it had another 75 but longer, I would have skipped the tank. So the 90, the grind for the 90 is the way to go. This little bad boy here is the way to go, because it'll make the grind for the ARL happen fast. And so the 90 is the way to go. The other two guns are just inaccurate, and they have absolutely no penetration on them. I think, look at the accuracy. Just shit for accuracy. I mean, if you look at a tier, what's another tier 5 gun? Any tier 5 guns here? Okay, here's another tier 5 gun. Look at that, 0.39 accuracy at 100 meters, 0.43. Now, mind you, the 75mm gun is smaller, but yet this one just is shit. The 75mm long 44 is just crap. Just run for the 90. Free XP it, run for it. Done deal. Alright, so equipment. Simple equipment for this thing. I just used the tank rammer, the medium caliber tank rammer. Reload speeds up and at them. I used camo just because I just threw it on there. It worked when I was sniping. And you might want to put binoculars or optics, or even vents. Any of those are fine depending on your playstyle. It's a heavy tank though. You're not going to get any big chances to ram. You don't want to get close to anybody, so you don't need the sprawl liner. Ammo rack, it doesn't really get ammo racked all that much. Enhanced gun range drive, that's an option. Coated optics and the binoculars I think would be most useful, especially if you're playing this as like a medium range, support tank. But other than that, there's really not much you really need. And there's no real need to use gold rounds in this thing either. Okay, tactics with the G1B. Until you unlock the 90, you have the 75mm long 44, or even the stock gun. You'll have to get close to the enemy to do any real damage. Simple fact of the matter is, it's too inaccurate. It doesn't do as much penetration as you like, and you have to get close to really even aim for any weak spots. So this puts you in a position of dying a lot. You're going to have to play aggressively, you're going to have to use your cover, and you're going to have to play smart. Also be aware that if you're coming over the hill, this thing right here, the cupola, with its little, that's your optics right there, by the way. You got your rangefinder. The enemy will shoot for that a lot. They'll go, oh, weak spot, and shoot it. So watch out for that when you're coming over the hill. So you're going to have to put yourself out and be exposed. Just try to endure it. The 90 is worth it. The ARL 44 is worth it. You just got to get through those first two weapons, and you know, just try to hold on, keep the frustration, keep a couple other tanks around, fun tanks around, so you know you can vent your frustrations. Try your best to aim for weak spots. Like again though, with the 75, you're gonna have some problems, and try to work with your teammates to flank the enemy. That's about as good as advice as I can give you. You can try to go haul down on this thing, but it's really no point. You got a little more armor in the turret, but not by much, and that cupola there is just a huge glaring weak spot. Once you get the 90, you'll start contributing a whole hell of a lot to your team, especially if you're in the mix. Like I said before, with the 35 millimeters of pen, with another 70 more points of damage, you really have a lot to offer in terms of firepower. KV1s will be nothing more than if as long as you aim your shots, you can end a KV1 in about 3 shots. Well-placed shots. Like if you shoot for the front, flat, upper glacis, 1, 2, 3. It generally takes me about, I want to say about 8 seconds to reload, so it's about as long as an 88 does. That's with the crew at 90, as you can see, 92, and the gun rammer. The KV1s, like I was just saying, which seem more like moving bunkers with the 75, you'll make short work of them. Most tier 3s, I think just about all tier 3s, I believe, you'll probably get them down within like a couple hit points, if not outright kill them. Tier 4s, I believe most tier 4s, it usually takes about 2 shots. Tier 5s will probably take 2 or 3. Now you will be thrown into some tier 6 matches. Just play them more reserved. You know, remember, you're already support anyway, so just keep your distance from tier 6s. You can still do plenty of damage to as tier 6. You just have to aim your shots better than usual, just because, you know, with VK 3601's front armor is a little thicker than, you know, what your gun's used to. You might actually have to get a little closer. You just got to be aware of what your team's doing and how the enemy's, you know, grouping around you. Because this thing will not take much damage. The armor sucks. With that extra pen from this 90, you can actually sit back from the enemy and snipe them from safety and still do enough damage at range. You'll be able to one-shot most tier 3 tanks, kill most tier 4s in 2 hits. You also, you know, like I said, you get into some tier 6 matches, but you're good enough. The 90mm is good enough that you'll still do a significant amount of damage to the enemy if you really time your shots. The other good thing about this tank is it's really good money making. Just going through the 75, the turret, the 90, and the ARL. Right before I bought the ARL 44, I started with, I think, 200,000 credits or something like that, and I managed to get 1 point some odd mil, so that way I could buy the ARL. So it's one of the best money-making non-premium tanks around. So if we take a look at the G1B stats that I have a 59% win-loss ratio for 76 battles. It's not bad. It has gone down. It was a little bit earlier. It was at 67, but now it's down to 59. You see some of the other shitty tanks. Yeah, so I mean, considering 76 battles, and you see the little, the discrepancy between these, it's on the high side. I got about a couple of 50s, 47s, so it's on the high side. It's not a bad tank. You just really gotta know how to play it. And there you go, right there, sniper and master gunner. And this thing really does kill a lot, one shots a lot, so it's not bad. You just gotta play it right, stick to cover, and just hope the hell you you don't get flanked or something. Yeah. I mean, it has big glaring weak spots. I have had the engine get taken out plenty of times. I've had the optics destroyed several times. I've had crew members die more than usual. Like I said, just about every match I get into, the driver or the radio men die. I even had the gunner die a lot too. I think the gunner's like about right here. Or over here. Yeah, I think he's on this side. Oh no, that's the commander's. Excuse me. Yeah, the gunner's on this side. So, fairly vulnerable tank. It doesn't have a lot of armor, so the rounds are going right through. You might as well, these guys might as well just go out there in a giant balloon tank. You'd probably do a little better. But weak armor aside, the gun's great. You just gotta play it like a weak-skinned anti-tank gun, like a tank destroyer. Just ahead of the tank destroyer, so that way people don't yell at you for camping. You want to be behind the heavies, but not behind the TDs. if you know what I'm talking about. All right, we are on Molinovka, I believe it's pronounced, or something. Anyway. Yeah, so it's acting a little jumpy for some reason, and I don't know why. So, we're going in through the woods. I'd figure, everybody else usually goes out the other way. So, I'll stick it to the woods. Shoot at a couple guys on that hill to the south. And, just try to keep my head low. I don't want to push it too far. This is kind of an open map. It's not really good territory for the BDR, but, it can be. Sticking to the woods. This is about as far as I usually push up until either somebody goes up or somebody comes at me or somebody starts shooting at me. So this is generally where I stay. This is my hidey spot. A lot of people hide here. I usually try to change it up, but depends on what tank I'm in. So the T1 Heavy's moving up considerably, and nobody there. So I say, screw it. Ooh, I see a Martyr 2, but I can't aim at it. He's way out there. Alright. PZ3. T-34 to the right. There we go. I didn't feel like stopping and being out in the open, so I just kept going. I didn't want to, stop in the middle of nowhere. That, it's pretty bad when you do that, especially in this thing. So he makes sure it worked. The T1 makes sure it worked with that Martyr 2. And he kills it before I have a chance to do anything, but behold the power of the 90. Boom! Devastating hit, takes out almost half his health. Boom! Second shot takes out another good 30%. Boom! Finishes them off. So we're slowly moving to the cap. Oh, they popped up again. He had a good spot right here. I could not hit him even if I wanted to. Oh, never mind, I did. Never mind. Forget what I just said. Boom. Dead. Yeah, this is about where he should have stayed back. And, so we were being spotted, and right now it's getting kind of hectic because they got quite a few more tanks than we have left. Artillery's starting to rain down on me, and it's always good to change your position while you're driving, because a lot of guys just drive straight, and they already just like to follow that pattern. They like to just aim straight, just hope they hit something. And a lot of times they do, and this was a problem. Wide open. I was thankful I was even near a rock. Took out the Stug. Now I'm going to start pegging some of these other targets. I thought the arty was behind the building, and lo and behold, he's right in front of me. Kaboom. Good teamwork from the Stug 3. Getting shot in the turret. Luckily it bounced, but that's a Lee out there, so no big surprise. And this Hetzer comes out of nowhere. I mean, look at that. I mean, Stug makes short work of him. That Lee's still up there. I still don't know where the BDR or the M2 medium are. Oh, and there's the BDR. Now look how big this thing is compared to that T1 Heavy. I can literally get behind it and use it as a shield. The M6 is a pretty tall tank. I could use it as a shield. Oh, that Lee's already dead. I can't even commentate my own videos without even paying attention. Apparently. There's the BDR. Still don't have a shot on him, but I figured I have a little more health and a Stug with me. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to move up. And I should have stayed behind this rock, but I'm a moron. And I decided, hey, why not rush him? I didn't even aim that shot either. I just put the cursor over him, just hoped to God it hit. It would have been so much crap if I didn't. And so the enemy starts capping, and the Stug goes back and basically kills the last guy. But that was a fun game. But that goes. I mean, it shows you how good the 90 mil is compared to the 75. Most of you guys that probably played the BDR dread the 75. People, gold rounds don't even work on the 75. It's horrible. It's a waste of money. But like I said, two redeeming factors about this tank. A, it's a great non-premium moneymaker for Tier 5. And it's it has a great gun. I think if it wasn't for those two things, I would have never picked it up. But thanks for watching. My name's Crazytoast, and I'll see you next time.